Hello, you guys, and welcome back to Mystical Visions. So, in today's video, I feel like hyping you up a little bit. So, today we're going to take a look at your hidden secret gifts and/or talents, and some things that you might be capable of that you don't even recognize in yourself. And also, we'll take a look at how you might use these talents, possibly where they come from. But I'm just going to let the cards do all the talking and we're going to interpret in an intuitive way, as always. So, we have three pre-shuffled piles of tarot and oracle cards here for you today. For pile number one, we have a beautiful sodalite crystal. For pile two, we have a jade. And for pile number three, we have some citrine. So, as always, timestamps are in the video description below. I'll give you a second or 10 to take a look at the piles and see which one calls to you most. Like and comment if this reading resonates. Come say hello on Instagram. And I'll see you at your pile. Pile number one, hello, welcome to your reading about your hidden talents, your secret gifts, and things about yourself that you do not see. So if you picked this sodalite crystal, then this is your reading. Welcome. So I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards. Your tarot cards for today, we have 4 cards and 4 clarifiers, and these are going to tell us what your gifts are, possibly where they come from, or just anything you need to know about them. And then with the oracle cards, we'll take a look at how these gifts might be useful to you in this lifetime, how you might put them to work for you. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Oh, I should mention, when I was shuffling these, your cards wanted to fly right out. They were not shy at all. You might be a very charismatic person. You might be an extrovert, although I do believe most of us are ambiverts, but you might find yourself being more extroverted in most situations, or just unafraid to say what's on your mind. Let's go ahead. So your first card is the Six of Swords in reverse. And that is clarified by the Hanged Man. Okay. So the Six of Swords in reverse kind of tells me that you are not someone who rushes to the most convenient solution. Especially with this Hanged Man clarifying it, I do think that you might be someone who has no problem wading through murky waters. You might look at challenges and take them head on because you see them as an opportunity to learn and grow, as opposed to as a roadblock. You might find that you almost crave challenges in your life because with each one you learn a new perspective on the world or about yourself. You learn something new about yourself. But there's a lot of honking outside. Sorry about that. But I do think that you might be someone, or you might discover that you are someone who doesn't necessarily want to brush things under the rug. You don't necessarily want conflict to be gone for the sake of peace. You are more than happy to deal with everything the right way. Yeah, you might be someone who needs things to be properly resolved, or prefers for things to be properly resolved rather than quick fixes. And that might have to do with your gift. Very strong air sign energy because swords is air and the Hanged Man is Aquarius energy. So you might have strong air placements. You might have an Aquarius sun, moon, rising, Gemini, Libra. This does feel emotional because there is water here. I think when you get into emotional confrontations, a lot of people, myself included, tend to kind of prefer to keep the peace. Whereas you're kind of like, this is a very odd example, but when you go to the dentist and you have a cavity that just cannot be filled, it needs a root canal. You're the kind who will happily get the root canal because even though it hurts and it feels awful and you probably won't be able to use your mouth for a while, it is addressing the root cause and healing it at the very core of the issue, right? You are not one to be like, just get rid of the tooth and put like a fake one on. That's not you. You like things to be done properly and systematically. You like a permanent solution. Interesting. So our next card is the Page of Cups. You might be someone who believes in destiny a lot, and maybe that's why you don't like to settle, because you do think everything comes to there is a solution to everything. And to clarify, we have the Seven of Cups. That's so interesting. We had 2 air cards and now we have 2 water cards. Seven of Cups talks about illusions. You might be someone who looks down upon people who are caught in the illusion. I don't think you look down on them so much as you understand that the illusion is not the answer. That it is only a temporary distraction. Whereas you see that there is a reason behind everything. You don't like to engage in like escapism. That's kind of what I'm getting, is you are so firm about the fact that you will face everything you have to face. And I do feel like this is something you may have noticed about yourself, actually. Or if you haven't, you might look back and start to see the pattern there, because I do think this is something you've done your whole life from a very young age, because the pages are quite youthful energy. You might look back and notice that you've always been like this. You've always been very methodical, very, let me establish a foundation and then build from there. That's so interesting. I do think your gift has to do with a lot of shadow work, or helping a lot of people engage in shadow work, because you are not afraid to go right to the very bottom of the issue and clear it all out, pull it out from the root before you then find a solution. So our next couple of cards, we have the Nine of Cups. Oh, beautiful energy. I do think you might be someone who helps people achieve their almost like soulmate life. I'm not talking about a life with their soulmate. I'm talking about like the life that is meant for them, that they are meant to live. You might be someone who connects them to this life in some way, where it's like all their dreams come true because you're kind of like a liaison between them and their dreams. Because with the Nine of Cups, I'm seeing like someone who is so emotionally fulfilled and so happy and just living their best possible life. And I do feel like you might be kind of like the missing link that brings them to this life. To clarify, we have the Lovers. Oh, that's more Gemini energy. There's a lot of air and water. Your birth chart might be very air and water heavy, by the way. Yeah, it's giving very like romantic, but in kind of like a romanticizing life. as opposed to actual like literal romance. It's kind of giving me the idea of there is, yeah, it's that there is a right way, there is an ideal solution to everything, and you bring people to that ideal solution somehow. But it's like, it's not all sunshine and daisies. You are not afraid to tell people to their face what their issue is and how they can address it and, you know, fix it, because otherwise they're not going to get anywhere with it. Does that make sense, Paula? I think there might be some people who take issue with what you say about these things because they don't want to hear it, because they would rather be in this like illusion state where they don't necessarily want to address the root cause of the issue. But I don't think you're afraid at all. I think you're more than happy to be seen as an outcast if it means people see the truth. I'm surprised there's no justice or like a Libra card out yet, but we'll see. And we have the 9 of Swords. Anxiety. I wonder why this is here. Let's see, the clarifier is death. Ah, okay. You have a gift for endings. Let me explain. So death is usually the end of an old cycle, the birth of a new one. It's about reinventing yourself and rebirth and reincarnation and that kind of thing. And that sort of energy is very scary for a lot of people. It really is, because we kind of establish a certain image we have of ourselves, right, in life. We put ourselves into a box and we hope to stay in that box forever because it's comfortable. But very few people understand that the box is an illusion. There's a lot of like illusion talk. You might be very pragmatic as a person. You might be someone who, and that's very Aquarian as well. You might be someone who doesn't indulge in fantasy like that. You don't like unrealistic scenarios or unrealistic stories people make up in their heads. You don't like it. It's like this passionate hatred for anything that's not real. I'm not saying you don't fantasize or you're not creative. I'm saying you can see when people have created distortions about themselves or about their situation, and it irks you because it's like the answer, the truth is right there. You're just not seeing it. And I think that's where you or your gift comes in, where you kind of introduce people to the truth in some way. This is so interesting. This energy is so interesting. I think in the past, people might have called you a very mean person because you may not have known how to temper that flippant truth. You know, there's like a flippant energy to you where it, and maybe that's why the cards were coming out so quickly. You do not sugarcoat a single thing. And I think as you've grown older, you may have learned to temper it a little bit. But I also think this 9 of Swords might be a bit of anxiety within you to say the truth, because you know it's important and you know it's going to trigger a growth period in the people that you talk to. But it's almost like, is it worth it if I could potentially lose a friend? You know? But at the same time, you also understand that it's, you know, if people are meant to be in your life and they're meant to grow from your message, then they will. And if not, then they will be replaced. It's fine. And you get that on a subconscious level. But I think your mind might sometimes make you worry about being lonely. I don't know why I'm saying that. It's not in the cards necessarily, but I do think you have a gift for truth where you can cut right through any illusion. You can see right through people, and you can see exactly what their problem is. And I don't I don't think the kind of people who like to ruminate and wallow in their issues, I don't think that kind of people like you very much, because I feel like you don't have any tolerance. You won't hold space for that. This gives me kind of like the opposite of Cancerian energy, for instance, where it's very gentle, it's very welcoming, and oh, if you have an issue, you can sit with it, and I'll hold space for you. I feel like you are the opposite, where you're like, I don't have time for this. This is your problem. This is how you can fix it. I will help you fix it if you want me to, but I need you to admit that there's an issue here. Right? I don't think you have the patience necessarily to wait for people to come to the solution by themselves. I think your mind functions at such like a high speed that you don't have the time for any of this. It's like, okay, boom, boom, that's your solution. Goodbye, next. That's fascinating, that one. But let's take a look at some advice on how you may be able to use this um, hidden secret talent gift thing. First, we have double mission, light worker, starseed. Serve the world by being you. That double mission, it kind of makes me think of, again, of being like a bridge between people and their kind of dreams or their ideal life or something of that kind. Because it's like the starseed is like an evolved higher frequency version of the light worker, and or at least that's how I interpret the two. And it's kind of like you connect the two. It's like you connect people to their higher selves, whether or not you realize this consciously. Or I'm hearing careers advisor of some sort, like a guidance counselor, that kind of thing, where you are able to cut through people's fears and illusions and negativity and go straight to like, okay, this is exactly what you are meant to do. This is what you're good at. Here is your aptitudes. That kind of thing. That kind of career might be really, really good for you, actually. Or like a liaison where you're like, okay, you have this issue. I know a person who can solve it. And then you bring those two together. You could trade. You could be a trade person, like a go-between. It's definitely giving me the energy of like bringing two worlds together, or bringing people to their ideal world. Interesting. Next we have Pillar of Light. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. You might find that as you engage more with this gift, that you do open up to more psychic insights or intuitive hits. Because I think in order for you to bring people to that ideal solution, you have to be kind of engaging in higher vibrational energy, because idealism is quite, not idealism in like a human sense, but the ideal life is quite high vibrational. And so the more you engage with that, you might find that the more your own life becomes quite high vibe, it becomes quite abundant and happy and vibrant and exciting. And the more you engage with this gift of opening people up to solutions, the more you might find that your own life opens up to more magical experiences. Your own psychic gifts start to break, your vibration rises. Because that's what an oracle is, isn't it? It's kind of like a go-between the human world and the higher realms. So in a sense, yeah, you might be an oracle. Not necessarily in like a making predictions kind of way, but maybe in like a more pragmatic way, like the way you like. And our final card is the White Raven Spirit. Trust in the magic. I do think. Oh, and it's number 66. Oh, that was a big one. It's number 66, which is so. 6 is the number of Venus. It is beauty, and Venus also rules Taurus, which is a very pragmatic earth sign. Let's read this from the book, because I haven't had this card before, and you guys already, if you've watched any of my other readings, you know that I love to read these ones from the card, just because they always hit so hard. White Raven Spirit, trust in the magic. Nothing in the universe is random, for the intricate web of co-creation weaves together all events and has done so since the beginning of time. Coincidences have meaning, and White Raven Spirit appears to remind you to pay attention to these synchronicities so that you might recognize patterns. Even the winds dance in a pattern, participating in the magic of Spirit's plan for all. The universe is conspiring on your behalf right now, drawing you to the light and bringing you the magic and miracles that are your birthright. Now is the time to trust in the magic of the world that is everywhere and in all things. Pay attention to how things come together as if by magic, and you will see the hand of Great Spirit arranging things in your favor. That message of things coming together, there's like a magic in you that helps you to bring together things that are meant to be. You might even end up being a really good matchmaker. You might find that you set people up and they end up like getting married or becoming business partners or something like that. There's a very strong like go-between liaison energy here. That is so interesting, part one. But that's your reading for today about all your secret gifts and hidden talents. I really hope you enjoyed it and that it brought you a bit of clarity and insight. If you did, please do remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff. It really helps the channel out a lot. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your energy with me and letting me read for you today. Stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye! Pile number 2, hello, welcome to your reading about your secret hidden talents / gifts, where they might come from, how you might use them, and what they might do for you in this lifetime. So if you picked this beautiful jade, oh, she's trying to fall away. If you picked this beautiful jade crystal, then welcome. So before we dive into the cards, I do want to mention that your cards, out of all 3 piles, felt a little shy to come out, but it felt less shy in the sense of like a helpless shyness and more like a reserved sort of energy. You might be someone who doesn't open up very easily, and as a result, you might be someone who's taken a little less seriously, if that makes sense. But let's find out. So I've gone ahead and shuffled 4 tarot cards and 4 clarifiers, as well as some oracle cards, which will give us some advice on what you can do with this skill. Pile 1 was very interesting, so let's just jump right in. So your first card is the Knight of Swords in reverse. And to clarify this, we have the 2 of Cups. What is your secret gift? You feel like a very slowed down person, like a very calm, patient person. Very nurturing as well with this 2 of Cups energy. I do get big time like Cancerian vibe, Virgo vibe. Very, it's like you're not going anywhere. The people in your life, they might be able to rely on you to simply be there and hold space for them to be chaotic and crazy and stuff. And you will gladly do so. In fact, you enjoy it. It's not like you're doing them a favor. It fulfills you to be there for people, to hold their hand through difficult times. This is like the opposite energy as pile one. That's so fascinating, you guys. You are like diametrically opposed to pile one. With the Knight of Swords in reverse, it does give me like slow down, less hyper logical or hyper intellectual, more emotional type energy. And again, it feels like you are a stable, solid ground for people to sit on. I know that sounds strange, right? But think of like a chair. You want it to be on solid ground so you can sit and rest and recuperate. That's the kind of energy that I get from you. But it feels like you are so solid and grounded and safe. You're like a safe space for people. You might be into like a social worker type field where you create a sense of safety for people who may not have that. Or that could be like a career you could consider. But it definitely feels a lot calmer than I'm used to feeling. So, yeah, thank you for being here, because I needed that today. Today's been a day. We have the Two of Coins in reverse as well. And to clarify, the Eight of Coins. You're definitely a hard worker, Paul, too. It doesn't... Oh, and it makes sense that you picked the Jade, because that is the Heartstone. You definitely work hard, but it doesn't feel like you're kind of all over the place or juggling things. You might be a homemaker, you might be a parent, you might be a stay-at-home parent kind of thing, but it almost feels like you've got everything under control. You've got your life together, and you're in a space now where you're able to help everyone else. This may not have always been the case. You may have come from chaotic beginnings, and that maybe drives you to be that safe space for other people. But you've worked hard to get here where you don't have to make a choice, where you don't have to balance things or juggle things unless you enjoy it. You have such a... I almost want to say you have such a talent for stability. Does that even make sense? Is that a thing you can have? I think a lot of us tend to be quite caught up in the race of it all, in the whirlpool of the 3D world. But I think you have actively worked to get to a point where you're almost like a respite from the world. You feel like a holiday in a world of like corporate insanity. You might own like a spa or like a retreat, or you might eventually be that kind of person where you offer a retreat of some sort. Because stepping into your energy feels like a really nice deep tissue massage. I genuinely don't know how else to put it, you guys. It's so calming and so relaxing, and I feel like I'm being held. Does that make sense? I feel safe and taken care of. Oh, so beautiful, Paul, too. So next we have The Seven of Wands in reverse. You are not here to encourage the grind set that you see all over Instagram from all these like NFT bros. I don't think that appeals to you at all. That might be the exact thing that you hate about our culture as a society, as humans. You might actively hate the idea of living for a 9 to 5, living for money, or, for hard work. To clarify, we have Temperance. See? You enjoy your calm, you enjoy your zen. And you might be someone who encourages that in every single person you meet. Your message to this world is like, slow down. There is no rush. It feels so spa-like. I feel like I want to use my spa voice. You know what I mean? Like, like it feels so calming to be in your energy. And I don't know if this is something you do anything with. Like, I don't know if this is a skill that you do anything with yet. But I do think you should, because I do think you are so needed in today's world of like chaos and insanity. I think you are exactly what we as a species need, is this kind of encouragement to calm down and take a breath. You might make a good therapist, by the way. You might be a therapist, you might be a mental health counselor, especially if you deal with people who have anxiety and, panic disorders, that kind of thing, PTSD, that kind of thing, where it's like your job to create a space of calm and peace so that people may heal. Interesting. With the world, yeah. I do think you are here to kind of help a lot of people redefine what life is. I think you're here to help them realize what their ideal end goal is, what their perfect happy ending is, or their ideal day or ideal life, that kind of thing. In many ways, you are quite like pile one, but opposite. I'm not going to spoil it for you in case you feel drawn to that pile as well. But with the world card, I do think you are not here to work with like one or two people. You might be here to work your energy on like a grand scale. Well, I'm kind of seeing you as someone who's on social media. Maybe you have a platform, maybe you offer retreats or talks, webinars, seminars, that kind of thing, workshops on inner peace almost. But I do see you reaching a very big audience with this skill. To clarify, we have the Five of Wands in reverse. There you go. You're helping people work towards like a calmer, gentler life. You're helping people achieve like a steady baseline. Again, like I said, you might work with people who struggle with panic disorders, mood disorders, anxiety, PTSD, that kind of thing, where it kind of pulls the rug out from under your feet when you have an attack. And you might be someone who helps people find root, find grounding, find stability, so that they can then build up from there. I hope that makes sense. You kind of feel, like I said, you feel like a very strong, sturdy chair for people to like sit down and ponder, where they understand that their security, their stability is not going anywhere. It's like a chair that's been concreted into the earth. It's like there is so much faith that I feel like I can have in you, and I haven't even met you. But it truly does feel like I can lay all my burdens to the side and just, let you lead the way, because I know that you want what's best for me. And that's kind of how the people that you work with end up feeling about you. How to. So what can you do with this gift? I mean, we've explored some options, but let's have a look. We have the blue flame, spontaneous awakening, activation, integration time. I think through this work, you do lead a lot of people into spiritual awakenings. You may lead them to integrate their healing journey into their world, into like their everyday life. Because you're not just about like a temporary retreat from everything that's crazy and noisy and chaotic. You want people to take that healing and that calm and the soothing and make that their new normal. I'm getting like lifestyle coaching. You might write a lot of self-help books if that's your thing. If not, maybe you should, because I think you could really reach like a massive audience and really make a huge impact in the world. But it does feel like you help people not only achieve that peace for a moment, but to carry it with them wherever they go from here. Next, we have align your life. What's not aligned or needs to change? That is such like life coach energy for real. Oh my God, you are so passionate about people only living their best possible life, people only doing right by themselves. I really do feel very strong life coach, almost like TED Talk energy from you. You might well end up giving TED Talks in the future. You never know. And I think some of you might be wondering, like, hey, my life is not even going the right way. What are you talking about? My life is not even aligned. That's a good thing, because in learning to align your own life, you are gaining a lot of wisdom that you can then pass on. So if you are very, very early in this process, this is kind of like a sandbox mode for you, where you're experimenting with things that work. And in fact, if you are seeing this at a very early stage, I do think that it might be because you are meant to find a career working in this kind of a field. And so you get a head start, But yeah, I do think you are so deeply passionate about people aligning to the highest good in this world, aligning to their inner truth, but not necessarily in like a leave everything and go into the mountains kind of way, but more in like a, how can we be true to ourselves in whatever situation we are in? I feel like that is your almost like specialty or subspecialty. How can we practice mindfulness while we deal with the world around us? You might be a mindfulness coach. You might be a mental health practitioner of some sort. But in either case, I do see you holding a lot of space for people to find their own healing. And our final card is the Stag Spirit. Take the lead. What did I just say? I told you, like, the energy I feel from you, I feel like I can sit down and let you take the lead because I know you have my best interest at heart. Isn't that wild? Okay, let's see. Stag Spirit. Take the lead. Whether or not you have set your intention to lead, you may have found yourself suddenly called to step up to the forefront of your life. Stag Spirit is a reminder that now is a time to heed the call to be sure, strong, and compassionate. Others will look to you, and you have it within you to see through the eyes of the stag spirit and walk with confidence as you take on responsibilities. You are a model for transformation now, sharing your experience, strength, and hope with others so they may grow and discover their best selves too. Stay humble and authentic and walk your talk, for this is how a wise leader leads. Powerful. Pile 2. So that is your message about your hidden gifts and talents and maybe what you can do with them. I hope this resonated and it brought you a bit of clarity and support and, all the good stuff. If you did enjoy this, if it did resonate, please do remember to like, comment, subscribe. It helps the channel out so much. Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing your energy with me and letting me read for you. I really do hope this helps. Stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye! Pile number 3. Hello, welcome to your reading about your hidden talent, your secret gift, maybe where it comes from and what you can do with it. So I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards. If you picked this beautiful citrine stone, then you are in the right place. Sorry, my mouse is in the way. I record at my desk. So I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards for you. With these tarot cards, we have 4 main cards and 4 clarifiers. And then we have some oracle cards. Now, your oracle cards really wanted to pipe up. And I tried to do the right number for every pile, like an equal number. But the animal spirits insisted on giving you 2 cards. So extra message, don't tell the other piles. Okay, so let's dive right in for what your secret power, hidden talent might be. The first we have the Ace of Wands in reverse. Creative block, I'm hearing. How is that a superpower? How is that a talent? And the 3 of Swords to clarify it. Interesting. How is this a... You might be going through a creative block right now. Maybe that comes from heartbreak. Or you might find that you do get creatively blocked a lot when you're hurting. It feels like sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what this means in the context of our reading. Maybe it's just a random message, but it might be that you're feeling a little less passionate than usual, maybe because something has gone wrong in an emotional sense, maybe in a relationship or something like this, where it feels like you are kind of going through it right now, pile 3, and maybe that's leaving you with little to no inspiration to create. You might be someone who's very creative, either by nature or potentially professionally creative, like an artist of some sort. And because you're going through it right now, it feels a little bit like your creativity is just not coming out to play. But maybe there's something here where maybe your gift has to do with kind of sharing the not so fun bits about having a creative job or being a creative person, or talking about how fluid creativity is, because this paintbrush is really speaking to me. The Ace of Wands usually talks about inspiration, of a divine idea that grips you and takes you on a journey of passion and creativity and expression. So to have that in reverse kind of makes me feel like you're kind of lacking that right now. Interesting. Let's look at the next cards, because I feel like there's more here. The King of Coins in reverse. Oh, you are probably not having a very good time right now, pile number 3. I'm going to be honest with you. Financial instability, maybe your home feels a little insecure. Maybe you don't feel like you're on top of everything. And to clarify, we have the Queen of Cups also in reverse. Emotional instability as well. Pile number 3. Are you okay? I feel like I want to give you a big old hug because it feels like everything. We have all 4 elements here, and it's all like not cards that you want to see in the positions that you see them. Since this is the only upright card, it kind of gives me like heartbreak vibes. I feel like you might be going through like a separation of some sort, or it could be a I'm getting a strong like relationship breakup vibe, but it doesn't have to be. It could be like a career ending or separating from family, something like that. But because of that, you're feeling creatively blocked, you're feeling emotionally unstable, you're feeling financially unstable. It feels like you're at a turning point right now. Because for you to be at this reading where we're supposed to be talking about your gifts and, how are you going to impact the world? What are some secret hidden talents? For this kind of message to come out, it does feel like whatever you're going through right now is a very crucial stepping stone towards discovering who you are and who you are meant to be on like a spiritual level, on a soul level. This feels like very dark night of the soul energy right now, pile number 3, which I was not expecting to come up in this reading. I was hoping this would be like a fun, lighthearted reading for everyone, but sometimes these things just come up and you have to go with it. And for you, pile 3, I do feel like you're going through it. There's definitely an ascension type energy where it feels like you're in the void state of it right now, where you're not able to see a way out and it's all kind of collapsing in on itself. But I want you to understand that when we have those kinds of moments, it's because everything is being rewritten for us. That collapse is just the old falling apart. And it's going to be painful and it's going to be very, very scary because we are creatures of habit, right? More specifically, we are creatures of safety. We crave safety and security and stability. So when that's taken away from us, it can kind of feel just the worst feeling in the world. But I want you to understand that is just your survival instinct talking. And it is going to be a big, loud voice in your mind, that survival instinct, because it's hardwired into our psyche. But if we can move past that, if we can just take that voice and put it aside for just a moment, can we see opportunity here? Okay, let's go ahead and check it out. We have the Queen of Wands in reverse. Whatever is happening was not like a hasty thing. I think this took a while to happen, whatever is falling apart. But it also feels a bit like you're stepping into an energy where you realize that all of this stuff is superficial. And it doesn't matter. Yeah, you could be passionate about something and follow it for a bit and then lose it and then move to the next thing. But I think you're maturing quite a bit in the next few months, where you're stepping away from this energy of everything needs to be safe and stable for me to be okay, and starting to embrace the idea that maybe a little bit of chaos is okay because it invites change. To clarify the Queen of Wands in reverse, we have the 9 of Wands. Mm. Yeah, because you are learning that even if there are challenges, even if things go a little crazy, you are more than capable of dealing with them and conquering them. You are more than capable of working through these challenges and just growing through them. Because the Nine of Wands does talk about feeling a little overwhelmed, feeling the burden, but also recognizing that you still have fight in you. You still have the power to face up to these things. Yes, life is not easy right now, and yes, things are very unstable. But I feel like you're coming to a place where you're realizing that you've tied your happiness to so many of these things. And as a result, you've given your power away. I definitely feel like a very strong reclaiming energy. Do you see in this image how even though all these things around her are going so crazy, she's reclaiming this little doll. She's like, I may not have anything else, but I have this one thing and I can build up from it. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting for you going forward. Final two cards. The Ten of Cups. Emotional fulfillment. There we go. There is a happy ending to all of this, you guys. To clarify, we have the Chariot, and it's coming very, very soon. I think your happy ending here. The Ten of Cups usually talks about, having the ideal partner and the family and the house and the 3.5 kids, all that kind of thing. Here, it really feels like you finally understanding that your fulfillment comes from you and you alone. And that will be such a freeing moment for you. Pile number 3. It's that sense of, oh, I don't need any of these things to make me happy. Which means I am fully capable of just being happy. And that is your superpower. Is you learning this very important lesson of independence. Is you going through all of this. Your secret gift and hidden talent doesn't have to be something that you use to help people. It's great if you can, and it's great if you can use your experience to teach and help heal other people. But primarily, it is here to heal you. And I do think through all of this, your strength is your resilience. Is this energy of, okay, what do I have? It's resourcefulness. What do I have right now? Okay, I have this one little thing. How can I then build up from it? How can I multiply this so I have more of it, and then more and more and more, until I get to the point where I am fulfilled? You might have... So a lot of these characters, apart from in this one card, all of these are very alone. There's a theme of like going solo here. You might have felt very lonely in your situation lately, and I think you're learning to reframe that as, I wasn't lonely, I had the opportunity to learn to enjoy my own company. I wasn't lonely, I had the opportunity to do any single thing I want because I don't need or have to ask for anyone's approval. It's that rephrasing. I think through all of this, your most intense power is resilience, pile number 3. It is that inner strength that keeps you going despite everything in your life falling apart. And that is what helps you rebuild. Oh, that is so powerful. So now let's take a look at your oracle cards, because they clearly had a lot to say. How can you possibly use this superpower? We have perspective, none of this matters, zoom out, common ground. Yeah, I definitely... Is that dust or is it the coloring? Sorry. I definitely see you going through like a very strong emotional maturity where you're sort of, recognizing that you are everything you need. You already have it inside you. All of this stuff, it literally doesn't matter. This is just the superficial world around you. What really matters is already inside of you. And just like that kind of takes you out of like the stress of it all. I feel like there'll be like a moment where you just go whoop and you're out of it. And you're like, oh, I see clearly now. It's that zoom out moment. And I think you will learn to make that a habit. When things get overwhelming and when things get crazy and noisy and irritating, I think you will quickly learn how to zoom out and to look at it from an unbiased perspective, where you are seeing the facts. You're not like swayed by the emotion attached to your situation. You're seeing it for what it is. And that allows you to bring a lot of clarity into the situation. Next, we have leap. You go first. The universe will catch you. If you're wondering whether to take a big dramatic step, I think this is the universe saying, like, go for it. Go for it. Because unless you explore the idea of a different life, you will never achieve it. And you clearly need a new beginning. In fact, you might even, once you go through this, you might even encourage other people to develop that faith in things will always turn out okay in the end, you know? But let's take a look at your animal spirit guide cards, because these guys were chatty. We have the rabbit spirit. Now is a lucky time. Yes, you love to see it. Now is a lucky time. Pile 3. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but like I told you right at the very beginning, this is a turning point in your life. It's not just that you're going through a lot and so you will be learning a lot. This is kind of veering you into the life that you are meant to be living. Allow it to fall away. This is happening for you, not to you. And we have the deer spirit. Bring a gentle touch. I'm definitely hearing be kind to yourself through this process. It's not your fault that this is happening. It can be quite easy to think it is. To think that, oh, if I'd just done something a little differently, that things would have stayed the same and I would still be living the life that I was living. It's not possible, because that would not be you being true to yourself. Whatever you've done, whatever you've said so far is exactly what needed to be said and done. Pile 3. And your only job moving forward is to hold your own hand and walk yourself through to the other side. This is happening for you, not to you. So there is your reading. Very unexpected and not necessarily 100% based on the topic, but I do feel like if you pick this pile, you definitely needed to hear it. So there's your reading, pile number 3. I really hope this brought you some support and clarity and that it resonated. If it did, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, because it really helps the channel out a lot. Thank you so much for spending some time with me and sharing your energy with me today. I hope it helped, and I really do hope your situation gets easier moving forward. But thanks for being here. Stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.